While the layers palette didn't get any huge changes in CS5, there are a couple of little, I guess you can call them production-oriented tips that I think will just kind of help speed things up for you here. So we've got an image open for this lesson. I'm just going to create a few blank layers here, okay? And what we've been able to do for a while is click on one and then shift-click on another layer, and that selects both the layers in the layers palette, and you could always move those around and delete them and things like that. But now in CS5 you can also adjust the opacity. So if you had a bunch of text layers or a bunch of shape layers or whatever, and you wanted to adjust the opacity of all of them, that'll just kind of help speed things up for you. All right, I'll hit delete, get rid of those guys. I'm going to duplicate the layer to show the next one, so Command or Control J makes a copy, edit, free transform, and I'm just going to make this one smaller. And let's just tuck it up here in the left corner. All right, so the next one is layer style. So check this out, because if you use layer styles, this one's pretty big for you. I'm going to double click in an open area of the layer, opens up the layer style dialog. Come over here, I'm going to click on stroke. So by default, it's going to give us black. The size is small, position outside. So let's say I always find myself adding a white stroke and I'm making it thicker. You could see the edges are rounded. So if I take position to inside, it'll keep those edges sharp. So it's kind of like a little, kind of Polaroid effect or whatever. It's got a little white border. Okay. Well, if I just click OK, this gets added, but the next time I come in here, the settings are going to be right back to where they were before, the black with the outside and all that. So if you find that you have a layer style that you use a lot, just click on Make Default. Okay, and then the next time you come in here, these settings are going to be the default settings. They're sticky, if you will. Okay, so they're going to stick. And if you use layer styles, you're jumping up and down over this one right now. If you don't use layer styles, it probably doesn't seem like that big of a deal to you, but it actually really is in the whole layer style world. All right, so let's cancel out of there. Next one, and this one, it's kind of just a little tiny workflow thing, but you could say I have an image kind of over here on my desktop. Well, if I wanted to bring this into my file, just click and drag it, and now I can drag it right onto my actual image document here. Okay, notice it's going to come in if I hit enter or return as a smart object. One of the things that you can do is come up here to your Photoshop preferences. Going to be the Photoshop menu on the Mac or the edit menu on a PC. Come down to general, and inside there you'll see place or drag raster images as smart objects. So you noticed it did come in as a smart object. If I turn this checkbox off, it's just going to come in as a regular layer. So and this works for when you're doing file place as well. Okay, so you can keep it on and off depending on what type of a layer that you want. All right, another one here. So this one's pretty neat. Let me delete this and delete that. Let's duplicate this image. Image duplicate. Okay, so I got a copy of it. On the copy, I am going to make a new layer. I'm going to come over here to my rounded rectangle tool, and I'm just going to make just a rectangle. Okay, so I've got an image that's tucked up here in the top left corner of this image. Okay, I've got a graphic, you should say, just a black rectangle. Well, let's say that I wanted to place that into another image. Well, I would go select all and then copy. Okay, so now I've copied that. Let's say it's a logo or whatever it is. You come over here to the other image. If I go down to the edit menu, you're going to see that paste special shows up now. Okay, and in paste special is something called paste in place. So what it does is it pastes it in place. Here you can see. All right, so it's pasting it right where it was, where if I undo, I come up here to edit and I go down to paste, it's just going to put it right into the center of the document. So that paste in place is actually new. And then the last one here. And so I got to tell you, one of the things, so inside of Photoshop CS4, not CS5, CS4, we got this application frame on a Mac. If you're on a PC, you already had the application frame. But on the Mac, if you come down to Window, you can turn on the application frame, which puts a frame around Photoshop. You don't see the desktop underneath it or anything, which I kind of like. It also introduced back in CS4 these tabs, which let us have multiple images open and tab between them. We can see them all open right up here. Well, the problem people had is that if I had this image here, okay, and let's say I don't have it, let me delete it from this image. So I've got this little black graphic here. If I wanted to move this over into this document, so many people are always used to moving things from the layers palette, okay, because that's what we used to do. But with tabs, it didn't work. You had to click and you had to drag. You had to hold down for a second and then bring it over into this document, okay. So people weren't really catching that. Okay. Well, here's the thing. What I'm told, and I actually did get this to work once, but you got to remember, I'm having these videos ready when CS5 ships. Is I did get this to work where you can drag in CS5 from the layers palette from one over to another tabbed document here and drop it in there, and it will work. But it's not working now. However, my advice to you is keep in mind I'm using beta versions, and these beta versions are finessed as they go along. So it's the chances are better than not that you'll be able to do this. You'll be able to just click a layer in your layers palette and just drag it right on top of a tab here, and then just have that pop over into another image. Okay, it's just not working here, but I wanted to go on and at least wanted to mention that I'm pretty sure it's going to be there because I've seen it there before. Okay, but there you got kind of a few different layers production tips. While nothing has changed drastically in the layers palette, these are just little things that should help you kind of just work a little bit faster.